And let's be specific here, because the criticism is he poo-pooed the lab leak theory in public for 3 years and continued to do so while privately knowing that many of his best friends thought it was absolutely plausible, sometimes even probable.
Yeah.
Two, that he's withheld thousands of relevant documents from Congress for no reason that I've ever heard, ever. I've never heard an explanation for why unclassified documents about U.S. government taxpayer-funded programs related to our interaction with China should not be immediately turned over. In fact, the Trump administration could have turned them over, the Biden administration could have turned them over, and what NIH, Francis Collins and Fauci and a bunch of them have done is hide them. And why is that? How can that be justified?
So can you bring us up to date to now the congressional investigations and the lab leak? What do you make of them? The hearings, from what I can tell, have just been demonstrations of profound, reason-based, rational-based argumentation over this extremely morally imperative question.
So the investigations, all right, because you can't just talk about one COVID origin investigation without putting it in the context of the 20 other COVID origin investigations, all of which have had such fatal flaws that it's almost, Orwellian to think that this is our society's response to the worst crisis in 100 years, that we're not even going to have a real independent international investigation into what happened that includes looking into these labs or what we know about these labs. It's still not happening. To this day, it's still not happening. 3 years later. That's crazy.
You mean international, so like the WHO or some other large international body?
So we started with the WHO.
Yeah, doing a non-corrupted, non-Chinese influence
which hired the best friends of the lab to investigate the lab.
And
right?
Peter Daszak was there for that investigation.
He was the only American handpicked. They said, oh no, we went to the lab, we talked to our friends, the lab guys
it's all good.
For 3 hours.
It's great, there's no problem.
Sorry to bother you.
It's
and
up
shut
to
up if you think it's the lab. Don't you dare say it. And so that was bungled. And I never saw the WHO director rebuke his own investigation while releasing the investigation. They released the investigation. He's like, this investigation is no good. I was like, okay. So then you had the Biden administration's 90-day investigation. Now, if you think about it, said 1 million Americans died. So why would you limit it to 90 days? Why would you say, okay, they call it a sprint, an intelligence review, in other words, 90 days and then stop? Well, no, 1 million Americans died. We should probably just figure it out. If it takes 100 days, I'm okay with that. Let it go 110 days, 1 million Americans died. We should probably figure it out. But once they conducted that investigation, it was bungled, and because they realized they didn't know. They didn't have it was an intelligence failure, a huge intelligence failure. And in any sane world, we would have like a 9/11 style commission that like 9/11 or or that would force everyone to show their cards, to show us what they have in their files.
Right.
But no, the intelligence community spent 90 days. They said, oh, 4 of us say low confidence this way, one says moderate confidence that way. What are you going to do? Okay, case closed. Now, for the Biden administration, that's something of an alibi because they weren't there. They're agnostic on it, actually. I've talked to senior Biden administration officials. They know it might be the lab. They don't really care. They know it's a political problem for them if it's the lab because the progressives have determined that that's racist because they were unfortunately led to believe that by the scientists who had a conflict of interest. But what the IC did is when they realized they didn't have the expertise to examine the issue properly, they went to those very same conflicted scientists. So they got captured by the same exact people that the journalists got captured by. So that, essentially a corrupted investigation. And that is what the House Oversight Committee Subcommittee on the Coronavirus under Representative Wenstrom is looking at right now, and Mike Turner, the new chairman. And it's only because Republicans have control of these committees that now they're able to sort of get documents and compel people to testify because the Democratic leadership had no interest in this. Again, because it was a political hot potato. And the administration had no interest in this because it was the diplomatic hot potato. And the scientists who were talking were saying, oh, don't look at the labs, and the other ones weren't really talking. And then you had a couple of other projects. You had Mike McCall in the House Foreign Affairs Committee did a report. I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't perfect. Then you had the Health Committee run by Senator Burr. They did an investigation. I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't perfect. And, so now we have this new investigation, which is bipartisan. But if you watch the first hearing, I was there. It wasn't great. And,
great, yeah.
Democrats didn't take it seriously.
Yeah.
I thought Wenstrom took it seriously, but it didn't really unearth a lot of new information. And I just don't think they're going to be the ones that I wish them the best, because it is actually technically bipartisan, but I don't think they're going to figure it out. I think what I say is that the Biden administration should do what the House of Representatives unanimously just voted for them to do, which is to declassify all the relevant information and put it on a website today. Why hasn't that happened?
They won't do it. They won't do it.
The bill is sitting on Biden's desk. They won't do it. Why? What are they afraid of?
We're shooting this in Georgetown, right? This is the super zip of the super zips. This is like power center. This is lots of money, lots of influence. Tucker Carlson used to live here. And he left, and he lives in Maine now. And he has spoken repeatedly about once he extracted from Georgetown, he noticed that the critique of Washington, D.C. as self-dealing, self-satisfied, ideologically homogenous, and primarily concerned with the enforcement of like a rigid, very particular rigid, maybe left-leaning orthodoxy that just so happens to enrich them. He's like, that analysis is true.
Background, I grew up in rich places around rich people with power. It's very shocking for me to see my former world, people I knew who've really become so diminished and are serving evil, in my opinion.
But everything you're detailing about the behavior of Fauci and you're saying 99% of his media enablers and the vast majority of the public health establishment, all their behavior throughout this entire process related to lab leak 100% vindicates the Tucker Carlson line about the nature of the people that occupy positions of power in the city, right? And you don't need to say, well, that's because they're evil, but they at least are acting in ways in which their primary concern does not appear to be the well-being of the American public. It's something else. It's something else. It doesn't mean because Anthony Fauci wants to turn everybody into non-binary lemmings so he can create a one-world government or whatever weird stuff gets passed around. But there's something else going on.
Is Washington rife with like corruption and partisanship and self-dealing? Of course. But is Wall Street rife with corruption and self-dealing? Is Hollywood rife with corruption and self-dealing? You know, I think I'm not trying to draw false equivalence. I'm just trying to say that all of the accusations you've heard about Washington corruption are true, but that doesn't mean that Tucker Carlson's prescription or analysis of the why the problem started and how they finished I necessarily agree with.
Yeah.
The larger critique of Washington, yeah, sure. You know, it's more broken now than I've ever seen. I've been in Washington for 25 years. I started as an undergrad at the George Washington University, and I was a Capitol Hill intern and everything. And what I always said about Washington is that it was kind of like a functional dysfunction, that like sort of nothing worked the way it was supposed to, but things muddled along basically. And that's all gone now. The systems have been, Trump flipped over the chessboard. And you could say that that needed to be done. I think a lot of people felt really good about that. But the problem is he didn't set it back up again. So we're left as sort of like a vacuum. And who do you think reigns in that vacuum? It's usually the worst actors, okay? And those are the most corrupt, and the lobbyists and the foreign interests. And this town is awash with foreign influence money. And that's a huge problem, but that's not a partisan problem. That's a bipartisan problem. So yeah, there's gambling in the casino,
Yeah.
Shocked. There's gambling in the casino. It's a huge problem.